everyone, welcome to Cos for Dry Stitchery. It is Flosstube number 5 for me and it is Saturday the 7th of March. Thank you for joining me. So this weekend is officially Nashville Needlework Market. As it's probably worked out, I'm not there this year, very sadly. Without having my mum in the US anymore to help me, it's a real challenge to try to get from the UK to the US. With all the stuff you need, you know, it's so helpful because my mum only lived like a 4-hour drive from Nashville, so she was able to bring all the tables and stuff. So I'm not saying I'll never go again. I'm really hopeful that I'll be able to get some different family members on board and go in the future, but this year it just wasn't meant to be. So have a wonderful time, everybody's there. If you're expecting patterns, enjoy them very much. I know you will. I have got some new patterns though, so I'll just share those with you. 2 new patterns have come out. I know I'm probably not as prolific creating patterns as I have been in the past, but with having my mother's dog now, I feel like all I do is walk the dog. So I probably spend nearly 2 hours a day dog walking because he needs to be walked a lot. He's a very anxious dog and the walking really helps. And it's good for me as well. So yeah, lots of time spent dog walking. At the minute is a very muddy dog walking. But yes, I have managed to get together 2 patterns. I will show you those. So continuing on from our Brit Lit series, we've got 3 new British authors. So we've got Jane Austen to start. Now I was lucky enough to actually visit Jane Austen's house in the summer when my sister came over for a visit. And it's really lovely. If you do get the chance to go, you know, it's just a tiny little brick house really, very humble. And I think that's a pretty accurate representation of what it looked like. Now these patterns are still stitched on the legacy linen, 36 count, so all the bricklet patterns are stitched on that. And they are all edged in Lady Dot Creates Toast Pom-Pom. So that's Jane Austen, and then we have got Oscar Wilde. And very fitting with the film that's come out, Wuthering Heights, got the Bronte sisters. So yeah, if any of those are your favourite authors, that's the pattern for you. And then in addition, the next pattern is Mary Agness Burrows, and that is just a really traditional kind of Victorian sampler, so you can see it behind me. It's not the nicest sampler, I'll be honest. You know, it's Victorian, it's done with wool, but I did really love the Victorian style motifs, so I've pulled some of those out. We've got a beautiful floral motif there, and then my favourite one is the dog. How cute is that? And last but not least, a little rooster, and I put the date of the sampler on there as well. And you know what, I've just noticed I did not put the rooster. There's supposed to be some red on top of his little crown, and I didn't do that. You can probably see it here, but that is on the pattern, the red, so you can actually finish yours. But actually I quite like it without the red. Make of that what you will. So yeah, those are the 2 new patterns. You've got Brit Lit, Jane Austen, Oscar Wilde and the Bronte sisters, and then Mary Agness Burrows. So if you would like to purchase any, they are only available at the minute as paper prints, so you'll need to get those from your local needlework store. Right, what else have we got? So Nashville, I've just been looking actually at the patterns that have come out. I haven't done a huge amount of looking, but I did want to point out a couple of my favourites, which actually are both from Heartstring Samplery. And my favourite one is actually Willow's Pond Viscornu. So that is just done on the most beautiful fabric, and that's why I like it. And I've actually looked and I managed to find what it's called. It's Wobby Sobby Linen by Jillo Lantern. Absolutely love this colour. It's just so beautiful. I think I'll have to buy it and use it for something if I don't get around to making this little biscornu. But it's gorgeous. It's got beavers on it. What more could you want, really? Love beavers. They've actually just started to release them here in the UK to bring them back, because I think they've been extinct here for a little while. It's just so pretty, and Beth's done a lovely job with that. Apparently there's also a twinning one, a raccoon one by Teresa Kogart. I haven't actually seen it yet, but I love raccoons as well, so that may be kind of a must stitch for me. And then also by Heartstrings Samplery is Strawberries, and that's a reproduction of an antique. And like I said, I really love it. It's very similar in style to the Mary Agness Burrows, that kind of Victorian motifs they do. Really love that style, particularly when it's floral elements. And this is a strawberry basket. It's so, so pretty, and I may have to try and find a way to stitch that. I have started to try to make time for stitching other people's patterns, which is difficult because, like everybody, there's just not a lot of hours in the day, is there? And of course I want to stitch my own patterns so I can get them out, but some of the times, you know, they're just so beautiful that I've got to make a way of doing that. So that will bring us to what am I stitching on at the minute. So in terms of my own patterns, I've done a lot of designing recently, just waiting for the supplies to come and then I can do a bit more stitching. But I am working on a very, very large sampler. It's a memorial sampler, obviously in honour of my mother, but you can make it in honour of anybody you like. So that is going to take quite a bit of time. In my head I thought, oh, I could maybe get it done for the first anniversary of her passing, but that wasn't to be. So I am stitching on that, and normally I'm a monogamous stitcher, and once I start stitching something, that's it, that's all I work on. But this is so big that I just can't bring myself to do that. So who knows when that will come out, obviously sometime in the future, but I have got some other little patterns to work on in the meantime. I will show you some whips I've got that obviously aren't my own designs. So the first one, I think I probably put this on my Instagram. So when my mother did pass away and I went to her house, I brought back some of her stuff with me. So we've got the Tulip Town sampler. So I think this is probably from the 90s, late 90s maybe. But I am stitching it over one, and it is tiny, really tiny, which it is meant to be stitched over one. And then I've got the most perfect little tiny frame for that to go in. So I'm making good progress on that. But I do just think need to hurry up and get it done, really. Now you're supposed to fill in all around your stitching with black. So I really want to do that. I'm going to really make an effort to. And I think that's going to look so good when it's done, but it is quite hard to do. I'm not the best over one stitcher. I'm willing to give it a go. But really tiny work probably isn't my forte. So watch this space, and I'll show you what it looks like finished. This was from back in the good old days when they used to just take a picture and put it on the front. Isn't that lovely? And then the other things I have been working on are from Jack-o'-lantern Jubilee by Brenda Gervais. And of course you can't go wrong with anything Brenda Gervais stitches or designs. And I got this in October when I went to stitch in London. I just didn't have a lot to work on, and I bought it from, I think it was Talking Dog Stitchery there, and all the supplies as well. And of course it's just been so much fun to stitch. And I've got two motifs done now. We've got the little bird with the cart of jack-o'-lanterns, and then we've got ghosts and goblins. Now I don't think my ghost shows up very well on this fabric, so I may need to outline my ghost. But I just really, really love the designs. It's really whimsical and sweet. And I bought this linen as well while I was at Stitch in London. And that is from Swan Bay, which, if you know Marie from Stitches and Diamonds, that's her new linen range. And I have to say it's absolutely gorgeous linen. Really soft, really easy to stitch on, just beautiful. So if you're in doubt about whether or not it's worth buying, yes, I absolutely recommend it. She's done a lovely job with that. So that's my whips, not a lot. But yeah, I've got a few more designs of that Jack-o'-lantern Jubilee I really like to get done. Good little cat, isn't that cute? So hopefully I'll have those done in time for Halloween. Watch this space. And then last but not least, I wanted to share with you some Wally dog stuff I got. You know, I'm accidentally seem to have acquired a lot of Wally dog things ever since I stitched a pattern for it 2 years ago. You probably noticed my cardigan, got Wally dogs on there. And this cardigan came from Etsy. I'll put links for everything I'm showing you in the description section here on this YouTube video. And yeah, I treated myself to it. It's my birthday recently. So I've got this cardigan. It's absolutely lovely. Its sizing is perfect. You know, really good quality. And I would absolutely recommend it. Secondly, I got this sponge bag, as we call it here in the UK, shower bag, travel bag, whatever you want to call it where you live. And yeah, it just happened to have some little Wally dogs on it. I got that from TK Maxx, but I think the brand is Your Nibs, which I think is actually like PJs, people that design PJs. So yes, I will see if I can find that available anywhere else, because obviously TK Maxx can be you know, what you see is what you get on the day, really. But isn't that sweet? And then I got these ornaments for my tree. And I ordered 2, and I wasn't sure if there would be a left and a right, or if it would just both be the same, but they did, and they sent me a left and a right. And they're actually made out of leather, which is really clever. And then they've been stitched, I think hand stitched. Aren't they cute? I just love that pink colour. I've got some little bells. And this is by a brand called Hetty and Dave. And that's, yeah, hand stitched. So I've got quite a few Wally dogs on my tree now, my Christmas tree. And then finally, I think I showed you my Wally dog tea towel, cut and stitch tea towel I got on one of my previous Flosstubes. Well, I have finally got around to actually cutting and stitching it. I'll show you those. So yeah, that came with fronts and backs on a tea towel, and I'll actually do a how-to of how to make a cushion. So I know one of the things people really struggle with cross stitch is actually finishing the designs. So I've added beaded trim to mine just to kind of elevate it, make it look a little bit fancy. And then I've also done a little bit of embroidery on them, so done some of the face and hair, and I've also added a padlock on this one and a key on this one. Just kind of charms I got from Etsy as well. And I think they're really sweet, and they can just sit on your fireplace. If you can't get your hands on any antiques, this is a good alternative for you. But yeah, aren't they cute? Really pleased with how those turned out. And then also I want to show you this Christmas ornament I got as well. So obviously we do a lot of hand motifs, heart and hands, particularly in cross stitch. So when I saw this, I just had to have it. I think that's from Graham and Green here in the UK. And they're not very expensive. They're just like a tin plate, you know, punched out. And really be perfect as a gift if you know any stitchers. I'll put a link for that one as well at the bottom. And last but not least, I have very recently brought out a pattern for a quilt as well. So it's my very first quilt pattern. It's only available at the minute as a PDF on Etsy. Because it's my first one, I just kind of wanted to trial it on there. There's a lot more work that goes into making a quilt pattern than a cross stitch one, in my opinion. But all of the quilt pattern, it's applique, so there's full size applique patterns as well, so you don't have to worry about enlarging anything. You know, you just print it and can go from there. I will show it to you, hopefully you'll get a good view. So the bulk of the pattern is a windmill on point, and I've just used a variety of kind of pinks and peaches, burgundies, and lovely kind of tealy green blue as my background fabrics. And then I've also got a pheasant, so an applique pheasant here, and you know I love pheasants. And then on the other side of the bottom there's some hollyhocks, which will be coming into season here now anytime soon. And yeah, you get full-size patterns for all the appliques with the pattern. So if that's something that interests you, go and take a look. Hopefully there'll be more quilt patterns, but I said they do take quite a lot of time to put together. So probably not going to be as many as cross stitch. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a really good weekend. If you're at Nashville, have a really amazing time. Thanks guys, see you soon.